Shalom, shalom, and welcome to another episode of Living Chronicles. Today, I have here my sister and my friend, Acote Ahmahneet. Ma shalomech.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to Living Chronicles and Toda Rabah for agreeing to participate.
Toda Rabbi for the opportunity.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. So we're going to start as always with Acote Ahmahneet's information, her bio. So Acote Ahmahneet, the meaning of her name, highly skilled and trustworthy, and she's going to share a little information about that. She came to Israel between 1989 and 1990 from Chicago, Illinois. She came when she was 25 and she's currently 60 years old. She has 5 children, no grandchildren, no great-grandchildren yet. Some of the things that she's done in her years of being a part of this journey from the Chicago jurisdiction, she was primarily an administrative assistant and provided background support, right?
Yes.
First Africa Corporation with Akhenaten, who was the president, and the great ambassador Prince Nasik El Kanan, and Atur Akiazer as consultants.
Yes.
She was an assistant to the Royal Secretariat with Atara Rayana,
Yes.
okay, for Prince Asiel, and then became his full-time administrative assistant. Soul Vegetarian Restaurants, staff support as a hostess and a server. Sisterhood Advisory Board member under the leadership of Atara Yoana. She was a woman of valor from 1993 to 2020. She served on the advisory board for 3 terms and the Health and Well-being Committee head. She's worked in the Royal Secretariat Office staff support with our beloved Imaskanit.
Indeed.
The Shaliach Ben Yehuda Writers Guild Assistant Director with Atara Kaviva. She's a graduate of the School of Prophets at Institute of Jerusalem. And the discipline of divine redemptive sound. And you can just touch on that. So, again, welcome to Living Chronicles.
Oh, whoa. This is
So, I mean, it's something when people, they say they want to do it, but it's a lot to think about. You start thinking about your life. You start thinking about what I want to share, what I don't want to share. How do I say this? And it can be overwhelming. Because just thinking of my own, it's like, okay, do I really want to do this?
and I said that several times, but Because I was the assistant director of the Writers Guild, I became very focused on the stories
Uh-huh.
of those of us that have been on this journey, of course, in the form of a book
Right.
form.
Right.
Um, I remember in reading Impregnable People by Nasi Gabriel at the time. And unlike Abba's books, which required a lot of focus
Right.
and attention and understanding, the spiritual level that it was on, I finished Impregnable People in about 2 days.
Yeah, me too. Because it was like a novel. It was a story.
It was
Just,
a
yeah,
story.
it wasn't a study guide. It wasn't
Right,
something you were really
right.
you were learning, but it wasn't specifically for the purpose of study and, yeah. So yeah.
So for that reason, I was interested in telling our story through the book form. And I wanted to do that for, especially for the sake of our children. But I never got around to doing that. And I want to talk about, I guess, maybe synergy or synchronicity, where you may have a vision because it was indeed a vision and a passion of mine. I know that it was a passion of Atra Kaviva. I also know that it was a passion for Okot Naomi, Eshet Shmuel, but
Hmm.
we never could get there. So
As far as writing the books, you
it's
mean?
writing the books. I mean, many we inspired many people to do that. But now, when you look at this opportunity that you're offering, it seems like sometimes everybody's sharing the same vision, but it's just taking it another level. So
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely.
This is in particular for our children. I have 5 precious blessings:
Hmm.
Yehoshua, Yosef, Yehonathan, Yehoshaphat, and our precious daughter in between, Hila.
So
And
everybody has a why but Hela?
yes. And their grandmother was like, "Why did you do that?" But I created those wonderful, wonderful souls with a great soul that Ahmed Sakliel.
Uh-huh.
So this is for you all. You've
Hallelujah.
often asked, Ima, why, Abba, why?
Well, so now they can just
So
watch.
now they
Why,
can just
why,
watch,
why?
because I know you all. You may not write a book, you may not read a book. Oh, this is Ima. This is your mother
Hallelujah.
coming forth with my story. Thank you.
Hallelujah. And you can do a family night and have your little snacks and sit and watch it together. You can
We
pause it
will.
and you can elaborate. So how did you we haven't even gotten into the how we usually start, but how did you come up with the names with all of the names beginning with the U or with the Y? Was that planned or
Well, that has to do with my mother. My mother, it was two. She was the baby,
mhm.
and she had an older sister, and it was just two girls, two daughters. And my grandfather had always said that if he had ever had a son, he would name them from the Bible.
Oh,
So
okay.
Joshua was one, and Joseph was one. Actually, Jonathan also. Yehoshaphat, that was kind of special. I don't know why, but I think because I lived with Coach Timonan, there was a Yehoshaphat, so I liked that name.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay.
but my mother did say, everybody's why, Now, Hela, the blessing that Hela had was that she's the only child that was named by Abba.
Oh, okay.
Abba named her Hela. Abba
But you
named her.
named all your
But
boys.
Sackliel and I, we named all of our
Okay.
sons. So
Okay,
that was
great.
that.
Okay. So now we can actually start our interview.
Here we go.
Well, I mean, all of this is going in. So, I always start with the how and why story. How is it that you came into the kingdom? What made you choose to do so? Was there some interesting circumstances or situations around you coming home? How, why, when?
Ooh, okay. Um, I think for me, I always felt like I was not born in the right decade.
Okay.
When I would look, I mean, born in the mid 60s, the child of the 60s, but I felt like I should have been in the 60s with the civil rights movement
Uh-huh.
and everything that was going on. I felt I was a little bit misplaced.
What, too early or too late?
Too late.
Okay.
I felt like I was too late, Rakaya. I felt like I was too late. based upon what I saw, the difference, and I wanted to be a part of that. Coming into the 70s, child of television, intense television, this new age woman or whatever it is that we're supposed to turn around and be. I mean, I had all of the benefits. It was just me and my brother.
Mhm.
I guess you can say we were spoiled, but our parents, it was just us, and they put a lot
Mhm.
into making sure that we had the best because that's what they wanted us to do. Went to the best schools. Went to a liberal arts college in Ohio, Wittenberg
Okay.
University.
And you studied?
I studied English literature. But interestingly enough, it was there that my interest, although someone would not think it would start at a predominantly white school, I
Mhm.
really, really began to become interested in uh, the movement of us as a people.
Well, I can understand that.
It was a small group of us, and we were called Concerned Black Students,
Mhm.
and we were very much into the cause and
Mhm.
supporting
Right.
ourselves as a people. Uh, but then after I got out of college, I don't know, college for me was, or the university for me was, it, and looking back, it was just an experience to say that I completed school because I struggled tremendously. I had
Did
learned.
you go because you wanted to or your parents sort of pushed you in that
It was
area?
both.
Okay.
It was, but I wanted to go far
Far
away
away,
to
right.
school. But my father was like, no. My father was, I'm a daddy's girl
Mhm.
and a mommy's girl, but I'm a daddy's. But
Mhm.
my father was like, you're far enough to be close enough to.
Right.
And so Wittenberg was where I went. But he was also impressed with the Black Student Union and
Mhm.
the students there and the faculty there and how we supported each other as a people and how we didn't lose our sense of ourselves as
Mhm.
African Americans or
Right.
people of color. So all of that was good for them. But I don't know. When I graduated, I was very proud to get my Bachelor of Arts degree. But unlike everybody else, I didn't have, I didn't have any vision. It was just, I just went back
Mhm.
home. Everybody's like,
Right.
I'm going to grad school. I have this big time job.
Right.
It's like my parents drove me there. And then when it was over, they drove me straight back to their house, so
Mhm.
I was kind of lost at that time. But then, um, at one point, I had to ask myself, what really am I supposed to be doing?
Right.
Because I really, really didn't see what I was supposed to be doing, but I knew that what I was getting ready to get into, the job,
Right.
money, the this,
That wasn't it.
it wasn't it. It just wasn't it. So I really spent a lot of time like spacing, trying to find myself. My first job, I worked for a Hispanic advertising agency. It was one of
So
two,
you speak Spanish?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. It was one of two advertising agencies, in Chicago. So I kind of realized that, maybe that would be a direction for me to go through or go into advertising, writing.
Mhm.
My father was an English teacher, but really his ultimate dream was to be a writer. But he wasn't able to fulfill his dream,
Mhm.
family responsibilities. So I took that on. But I still kept feeling lost.
Mhm.
I was interested in the communist movement, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Socialism, I wanted to go to Cuba,
Mhm.
all of that. And then my my good friends, my girlfriends and I, we used to always go to this event every year, uh sponsored by the NAACP. It was a fundraiser, and all of the big time people, I guess, in the African American community and in general
Would be
will
there.
be there.
Mhm.
And we went every year, as a matter of fact. But this one year, they didn't want to go. And they said, nah, we're not going to, Jill,
Mhm.
that's my English name. We're not going to go, Jill. So I was like, well, okay, I did everything I needed to do. I bought what I wanted to buy to wear. I got my hair done. I got my nails done. So I'll just
Go by
I'll go
myself.
by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I went. I didn't have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the standard. I ate and met, danced, and everything. But at the end of the party, as I'm coming out, getting ready to go home, I hear somebody say, "Over here, we're selling jewelry, and it's the pretty eyes, pretty smile discount."
Who was that selling jewelry?
So
I just gotta
I
know.
looked, I looked, and I went over there, and it was Malachi, Leviel's brother,
Oh, okay.
and Atur Baruch that was here many many years ago.
Oh,
And they were selling jewelry. They had this beautiful table, everything. So I said, well, I didn't have a good time at the party. At least,
so at least I'll get me some jewelry.
what did Denzel Washington say? I got to walk out of here with something. So
Right.
I'll just walk out of here with some jewelry. So I'm looking at the jewelry, and I think the jewelry was Noga jewelry at the time.
Okay.
That was the style that was made here in Israel. And I'm looking at the jewelry, Rakaya, and they're talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess if they got you to the table with the smile and the eyes
Uh-huh.
piece, you know.
I'm just, and then, and then they said, we have a community. And then as they were saying that, I saw God, the Black Man in Truth.
Okay, it was on the table.
It
They
was
were
on,
selling that as well.
they were selling
Okay.
the book as well. So I was curious. Okay. But when they saw me looking at the book, then that's when they said, okay, the community, Africa, well, okay. What was introduced to me at the time was the African Hebrew Israelite community in Jerusalem.
Okay.
That's what was introduced to
Right.
me. I said, okay. But I'm still looking at the jury as I'm looking at the book. But when they said we're a group of African Americans that live in that moved to Israel, y-
Bing.
and I was like, Israel? I said, there are no black people in Israel. They said, yes.
Yes, there, yes,
Yes, there
yes,
is.
there
Yes, there is.
is.
And I said, no. I said, no. I mean, not what I mean, I mean, we
Right.
were news watchers now
Right.
because my father had two jobs. He was an English teacher during the day, and he worked at the post office at night.
Okay.
So very hardworking man, but he always made sure that we sat down as a family between the hours of him coming home and then having to rest up. We had to sit down at the table and have dinner.
Oh,
And part of
that's
that
great.
though, but he also taught us how to watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up watching the news, learned that from my all these news shows.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere did I see anything
About any black
about a
people
black
in
presence
Israel.
in Israel. All I think I saw was at the time that I was growing up, Menachem Begin, Anwar Sadat, but not there was
Right.
no black presence.
No black presence.
So they're trying to convince me of this, and I don't believe them. So
You thought they were running game.
yeah, I thought that they were running game, but it was curious to me though.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit I was curious. So they said okay. So they said well, we have a restaurant on 75th in Indiana, and you can come by. You're more than welcome to come by, because now we're getting ready to close out. You
Right.
can leave, and if we would love to entertain, any questions that you might have. So I said okay. So I went home. And for a whole week, all I kept going, what kept going through my head, was black people in Israel. It cannot be
It
black
cannot be true.
black people in Israel. I mean, just any kind of
Right.
way I could fathom that would even be true.
Right.
But by that time, I think by the middle of the week, I said, I'm going to go. I'm going to the
And go
restaurant.
check it out at
I'm
least.
going to go check this out.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over there. I went over there on a Saturday, and I went first day. I had something to eat. My first tofu sandwich addicted.
Mhm.
And then they said, well, we're going to go, of course, going to back, which a year late, 2 years later, I'd be very familiar
Right.
with everything at Soul Veg and everything connected to it. But we went into the office and we sat down, and the first they bought the book,
It
got
was
the
still the same two brothers?
yes,
Okay.
yes, it was still Malachi and Atul Baruch
Okay.
at that time, Atul Baruch. And they bought God the Black Man in Truth,
Mhm.
but then they bought the Bible.
Okay.
And I also, ooh, okay. Now, what I'll say is, as I was at that point in my life, I really, really didn't want to have anything to do with the Bible.
Okay.
Not from the standpoint that what what was in it was not good, but it didn't correlate to me of everything that was taught from it and the world as it was. It
Right.
didn't make sense. And I have to go back a little bit because I remember once I had come out of church.
So you did grow up going to church?
And I grew up going to the AME church.
Okay. All
AME
right.
church. My grandfather, my paternal grandfather, my father's father, was Reverend A.J. Felix. He was
Okay.
presiding elder for the AME church in the Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
Baltimore area. We were church going people, but when it came to the study of the Bible and all that, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's not what I was into, or how my parents taught us. But either way, at that time that I was searching in my life, all these things didn't make sense to me. I would sit up in a church. I would sit in a church service, and we were talking all these things, and then I would go outside, and I said something's not working here.
Right.
It didn't make sense to me.
Wasn't being
It
applied.
wasn't being applied. So, like I said, I wanted to go into the communist movement. I think I had a little bit of interest in the Nation of Islam, but I was just looking
You were
everywhere.
looking.
I was
You were
looking.
looking for answers.
I was looking for answers. So when they brought out the Bible, I was like, "Oh no, what have I got? What have I got myself into?" But I said in my mind, with that, I'm Jill.
Mhm.
Now you can be open,
Right.
and then be open and be honest, okay?
Right.
And then if it's not anything interesting, then you just have to move on. But then, as they began to correlate the Black presence through biblical scripture, I was like, "Oh, whoa!" Well, not okay.
Like I never heard this at
I
church.
no. I mean, what did we grow up with in church? It
Right.
was the image. I mean,
Right.
my grandfather was a great minister, but he
Right.
still taught with the mindset of
Right.
what he was taught. So, what did we see? We saw European images, and so that was in our minds. So when they correlated and substantiated this Black presence in Israel, then I was like, okay, okay. But I didn't immediately join. I didn't
Okay.
immediately join, but I became interested. I did I began to come to some classes. I think my first major class was with Doda Mishadai. He taught a class
Okay.
that was dynamic, and then I think that was around the time maybe after the siege and
Okay.
everything that had gone on up here, and of course the great ambassador Prince Asiel, of course,
Right.
class with him.
Right.
And then, quite honestly, I started going to the classes because I like the music, the Soul Messengers.
I have no idea who was out there.
Oh, my
Wi-
brothers.
They had an actual band over
Yes,
there. Okay.
Zakia. Oh,
You talking about Shafatia
yes,
and their group? What was the
yes,
name of their group?
yes.
I can't think of the name of their.
I'm so sorry. I'm not doing you all
It's not the
justice.
ambassadors. No, it's not the ambassadors. Sound Sons of the Kingdom. No, not Sons of the Kingdom. I cannot remember the name of their group.
All I know was that was one of
They were
the.
awesome
I went for the teachings and I went for the
for the
music.
music
And
and the tofu sandwich after.
oh yeah, I like that tofu sandwich.
Yeah.
I won't associate what I associated
Right.
with
But
in
we're
terms of
clear.
what I used to eat. But then that was also something that was interesting about the diet.
Hmm.
And I was like, this vegan diet? I mean, what, my mother, my Ima, she had introduced us to certain health concepts, but it was not vegan.
Right.
No, of course it was meat and everything involved in it. So I asked them about that. And I said, what is this about the diet? And they said it all correlates, lifestyle.
Right.
So, but still, Rakai, I was taking baby, baby, baby,
Baby,
baby,
baby, baby steps.
baby, 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 baby steps. And I said I became interested in the food actually because I got sick.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I had gone to my cousin's wedding in Washington, D.C., and I returned and I was really sick, had a terrible cold. I got sick and I came home. I was off for a couple of days, and for some unknown reason, because we had a huge library, we had a huge house. We grew up in a huge house, and we had a huge library downstairs. I just went downstairs, and then I remember that my mother had a Back to Eden book. She had a
Okay.
Back to Eden book from when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going through the Back to Eden book, and I was like, well, she was teaching me certain things about diet. And I said, So I went upstairs, right? And I remember as I began to read, it said, well, the worst thing to eat when you have a cold is chicken soup. And my mother comes knocking on the door, Jill, I have your chicken soup ready. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. But because I had been fluctuating with this decision on what I wanted to do uh, with the community, I said, well, maybe that change of diet, I'll try that.
Mm-hmm.
So I told Malachi, and he said, well, we have a cooking class that we have every Saturday. So I said, okay. So I signed up and I went, and Acote Ahmahneet. Um Ak-
Daviji ma kokamuda?
no, no, no.
Did she ever come home and live?
She did. She came here for a while. She stayed. She was back and forth, and she had problems with the stats. She was the instructor, and there were a lot of people were in the class actually that they had, for the
Mm-hmm.
general public. And she just started, teaching me how to make tofu and kale bone. Oh, I mean, the wash the kale bone. I mean, my first experience with that was a complete disaster. Everything washed
Washed
into the
away.
sink, and my mother was like, "What is
Right.
this mess that you're doing?" But I was really, really proud of myself. I made my first apple pie. She was so
Mhm.
proud of me. I mean,
You
I,
got it together. You figured it
I
out.
started to get it together. I
Mhm.
really, really, really started to get it together. Um, my parents, though, they were beginning to get concerned. They were, okay, what's this change of diet here? What's going on? But still, Rakai, I still hadn't made a commitment.
Right.
This is,
You still just checking it out.
I'm still checking it out. I'm still coming to events. I'm still coming to classes, and then, quite honestly, I think that the one issue for me was the fact of leaving America.
Uh-huh.
That for me
Was an issue.
was an issue. It was an issue because, I mean, I was the oldest child. So all this time while I'm checking things out, my parents and my friends
Or checking you
are
out.
checking me out, checking everything else out, and they're getting concerned. But I was like, but I haven't made a commitment. I'm not.
Right.
I
I'm
haven't
just
made. I'm
still
just
checking
checking.
it
I'm just
out.
checking everything out. Okay. But ultimately, what happened was, and not so much in a good light, but my mother and I, we had a serious clash, a very, 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 very serious clash. And at all that time, at the time, I'd been living with my parents. I mean,
Right.
that's kind of like how spoiled I was after I got out. After I got out of college, everybody
Still
else
living at home.
going everywhere else. I
Mm-hmm.
went straight back to my parents' house. So I was living with them at the time. And when things got really, really tense, I ended up having to leave. And interestingly enough, backtracking a little bit when I wasn't so serious, I remember Malachi had introduced me to the great ambassador, to Prince Asiel. And after we talked, he said, "You're not serious. You're not ready." That's I said, you're not serious, you're not ready. He said, when you're serious and you're ready, come on back. I was like, but that was the beginning. So he
Mhm.
was gonna toughen me up, which he did. So now that I'm in this crisis,
And
okay,
need somewhere to
and
go.
need something, he he said, okay. He said, okay. He said, I got you taken care of. So at first I went to go stay with Akamishida and Netava
Oh,
at their Bayit
okay.
Nation House in Chicago. And then before I found my own place, where did I go? He sent me to live with our beloved sister, Acote Malaya.
Ah,
I have a story. I must tell this story as I'm
absolutely.
all over the place because during the time that I was checking things out and going to classes and everything, I met Malaya. We were sitting in the center. We were talking about these different projects and everything. And I was looking at her and she was looking at me. And all I could say to myself was, she is so mean looking.
Malaya, you have to
I,
be hearing us right now.
she's laughing. She's like, I said, she is so
I
mean.
used to say the same thing about her.
I said, I hope I never, ever, 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 ever get in a situation where I would just have to like be around her because she's so mean. So, who
Do you
do
end up
I
living with?
end up living with for in my
Mm,
extended period of time
right,
was living with her. And I never will forget when that day I got to the apartment after we got settled and after we started talking. She looked at me and she said, I know, you thought I was so mean, didn't you? I could tell by the way that you was looking at me that you thought that I was so mean. And I was like, I said, I'm sorry, but wherever she is, we tell this story all the time because she loved it. She loved being contradicted. And we know
right.
that she had a heart of gold.
A heart of gold. I didn't like her when I met her, and I ended up living with her as well. And that's how we got to know one another.
Yeah, it was like and she said, but she said, everybody thinks, but
Right.
we know
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we definitely
it
know.
was.
Miss her so much.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But at that point, um well, no, another little backtrack. I'm sorry if I'm backtracking. Something else that kind of like caught my attention. Now, I mean, I went through the makeup phase like
Hmm.
we all do,
Right.
especially when I was a teenager, slightly in college, but at that time, because I was working in corporate America, I was doing the
Right. You had, yeah,
full fledged,
that sort of was required back
So
then.
so one day, I think it was on a Saturday. I went to the restaurant, treated myself to a dinner.
And you had makeup on.
I did, but what got me, Rakaya, was that there was some sort. I think they were having some sort of the sisterhood conference. Something was taking place, and there were a lot of sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm sitting there, and I'm watching these women. But the thing is that they were so beautiful without makeup.
Without makeup.
I mean, and I'm just sitting there like, I guess they were looking at me like, what is she looking at? And so no, Ataraya Fa.
Mm-hmm.
Kids see, I'm like, their skin
Just
is
natural.
this Kitura. So finally, Kiba, another sister of mine who endeared me, Malaya, her, they endeared me. She came over and she said, she kind of like knew me. Say, what's happening, Jill? You okay? And I said, well, where are you all coming from? What are you doing? And I think she said they were having a sister conference and they were
Mm-hmm.
eating lunch and everything. And I just said, well, I said, you all are so beautiful. And she said, well, you're beautiful too. And I was like, but you also,
Right.
that was another thing about the beauty, the aging,
Right.
the natural, that caught my attention too. But eventually I did actually what my parents and my friends were so afraid of was that they said, no, they said, although you said you were checking things out, we know you.
Right.
And what we know about you is that anything you start checking out, you getting ready to get involved in, and you're getting ready to get serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of knew,
Yeah, they anticipated
they
that's was going to
anticipated, you
be
know,
the end result, and they were
yeah,
not comfortable
and
with
they
that.
weren't. And it was, it was hard, but at that point, I was like, hey, I went to Prince ICL. I'm ready to quit my job. He said, hold up.
I said,
Hey,
I'm gonna quit the job and come on home, huh?
quit at that. Now, my progression was Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came home.
Right.
Okay. So I got involved in at that point, what we knew was the extension, the Chicago extension.
How long were you in the extension?
Up until the time I came home, at least
Something like how much?
from
Couple of years?
91 to I came home in 98.
Oh, so 7 years.
7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I graduated. I remember 1 year later, after I was admiring them about a sisterhood conference, I think that their brothers had a conference or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed the sisters to help out in the restaurant. And I went on in and I started washing dishes. And Prince Asiaki, okay, he said, "Oh, you serious now?" I said, "Mm-hmm." I said, "Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha."
Mm-hmm.
So I worked regular job. I was an office manager, secretary at the Hispanic ad agency that I
Okay.
mentioned to you about. And then when when I told Prince ICO that I was ready to quit my job, he said, "Hold up." He said, "Hold up." He said, I'll let you know when the time is
Uh-huh.
right." And sure enough, that's what happened. I think I was about 8 months in, and he called and he said, "Hey, I think we're ready. I think we have something for you," because he knew I had
Right.
office skills.
Right.
So I left my job, and that's when I was introduced to Akamnom and First Africa Corporation.
Okay.
And Leviel, my big brother, I love you so dearly. He used to
Yes.
always tease me whenever he would call the phone. First Africa Corporation, Jill Felix speaking. He got the biggest kick out of that. But anyway, that was the transition that I had. Akamnom and Nasi Elkanan, Prince Elkanan interviewed me for the job. I got the job. I had replaced Acote Yishia, who was the former secretary, because she moved on to something else.
Okay.
And it was what I knew how to do.
First Africa Corporation. What were they doing? What was
this
that all about?
this was an investment corporation that Akamnome already had this corporation
Okay.
before he came, and
Okay.
then once he came into the community, he involved Prince Asiel and Akak Yezer and the staff.
Right.
Mainly, he primarily focused on Africa
Right.
and mainly commodities, rice, grains, food substance.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think the interesting thing about that was that it was small. It was what I knew how to do. I could work in a small office. I mean, I organized everything. I brought a whole new kind of filing system. It was
Right.
I established myself.
Right.
And Malcolm Nome, he would say at that point, even years on, he said, "You,
Took it to a whole nother level.
yeah, I
Mhm.
took it to a whole nother level." Now,
Yeah.
at the time, I as Nasi Shalik would say, big business. I
Right.
mean, I began to see big business. What they were handling, and most
Right.
importantly, what they were trying to do. And it was through there that I met my Dodak Yezer.
Yes. That's another great soldier.
Top and
Top
a
soldier.
top soldier. Now,
Hmm.
now he'll tell you wherever you are, Dode. I know you listen.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't understand him, and I didn't even like him at first because I remember he came into the office and he said, "Here, hey, here, baby, how you doing? Type that."
Right. Right. That is him.
And I was like, "Hello, mine, no, not anything, you know." But then, as I began to, to get to know Dode, I've always known that I have an inner strength about me because certain things that I've been through in my life, but I never knew how tough I was.
Right.
And this whole experience made me tough. And it began with Prince Isiel and Dode Kaiser. Because they flat out, I remember Dode Kaiser told me, "You're not a baby. You're not a baby. You look all, but you
Right.
are no baby. You look all soft, but
Right.
you tough up in there." And he said, I'm not gonna treat you any other kind of way. I'm gonna treat you and I'm gonna make you tough. Top soldier, top soldier,
Right.
top soldier, top soldier.
Right.
So in dealing with that whole experience and how they tried to galvanize the politicians in Chicago and to galvanize them to focus on Africa, just all the work, all the work that they did. I mean, I felt like I was in a big
Corporation.
in a big
Multi.
corporation, but just I have to say the Chicago extension in general, there was a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. I mean, you had to learn how to be strong. You had to learn how to be tough. You had to learn how to anchor yourself because they were big time. They were
Right.
big time people. They
And
were
moving fast, and they
moving
did not have
fast,
time for the niceties and all.
doing all kinds.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was working in the restaurant at the same time. I was a corporate office manager, secretary, but then I went and I had my hostess duty.
Right.
So I was
Back and forth, yeah.
switching.
Wearing many hats.
Yeah, switching in between these lives. And I think another thing that I learned about was the telephone and my ability, because Noam used to say it, and Dodakes and Prince Asiel, they said, no matter where we go, because they went to Zaire and they were like just knee deep somewhere where it was really, really, really hard to get in contact with them. There were no, we didn't have the cell phone.
Right.
It was just a regular old telephone. I remember business needed to be taken care of in the extension. People still needed to talk to Prince Asiel. They still did need to talk to Amnom. And they were, how do we get in contact with them? Well, me working at the office, I had to do it.
Right.
And I remember I would just sit there and I'm like, pray, pray, pray. And I would just, I mean, they were like deep somewhere and they were like, you found us. And I'm like, yeah. And so we need to know this, da 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 da. And they said, okay. So I always managed to find them. I always managed to find them. But I transitioned from First Africa Corporation. I'm known had moved on. I think he came home at the time.
Okay.
And so then Prince Asiel felt that I needed to come south and work at the restaurant and at the Borough Secretariat there.
Okay.
So that's how I made
That move, that switch.
that switch. And Dr. Ariane at the time, she was his official secretary, Royal Secretariat. And, you know, working with Prince ICL, you really, really had to be like
On it,
you
huh?
had to be on. You had to move when he wanted you to move. And he had all these numbers. Back in the day, we had a phone book.
Right.
We know we had a phone book. It was not numbers were not in the telephone. They were in the phone book. You had
Or a
a
Rolodex.
Rolodex and all of that. And I had this phone book with me where I had all these numbers. Right. And at any time of the night, he would call me. I need so and so's number. Okay. I need it. And I had it.
So
And
you just lived with that phone.
the psycho will tell you, it was right by the bed. It was right by the bed. And I remember, Sar at the time, Sar Yashuv, now Nasik, he was out there and he said, how do you have all those numbers in your head? Because he saw me one time with that book and he was like, he says, you're like a walking phone book. And I just said, it's what I do. It's what I do. So that was quite an experience working with him, making me tough. I remember one time as I was involved again, I was involved with Dora Joanna with the advisory board. 'Cause I was
Right.
a woman of valor, so I had my responsibilities there.
So you got your valor when you were still in Chicago.
Right. he gave me my valor. And I didn't quite
He meaning the Shagrir.
Chagrin.
Uh-huh.
I didn't quite understand all of that at the time, even though I had been in for a season. My mind wasn't hooked into that
Right.
like that. And I remember when they made the announcements, and Malaya was there and Kiba was there. And all the saints were there, and we announced so and so, and now I announce, I'm gonna need woman of and I was like, what? And I got up, and you would have thought I was. Malaya said, "You look like you was Miss America in the pageant, just crying."
It would take Malaya to say that.
She said
she probably talked about you.
she said you should have seen you. I mean, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't stop crying. I mean, I was just like full of
Right.
like, whoa, they both cracked up on me.
I know they did. I know they rode you for
Wherever
a
they are,
while.
they laughed. They said, if we had a phone back then, we would have taken a picture of you. But yes, it was through him, yes, that I became
Uh-huh.
a woman of valor. So
Okay.
in the interim, marriage, family life.
Okay.
Okay, so working with the great ambassador, Princess Yale, Dora Kaiser, just Dora Ioana, that whole that whole experience was a great foundation for me. Like I said, I was strong, but I had this outer sensitive
Mm-hmm.
look to me that nobody was like, no, 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 no. Okay? You're gonna grow up real quick. Got that? And just the
Working with them guys, no way you were not going to
no.
be made hard.
No. 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 And like I said, Doda Chiesa told me straight up, he said, no, I'm not gonna baby you.
Right.
Okay. Prince Asiel, I mean, I remember we had some sort of the interplay between me as a secretary and then me working on the advisory board with Dora Ioana and being in charge of the sisters. And something happened. There was something happening, some sort of situation with the sisters. And it needed to be dealt with. And it was causing me great stress, I have to admit. And I think at one point, he called me in the office for something, and I was talking to him about it a little bit. But the mistake that I made was that I kind of like generalized it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "So give me some names." I want to know who. He said, because obviously whoever this is really upsetting you. I mean, what are the names? So I was like, okay.
You wasn't trying to go there,
But
but you went ahead.
I went ahead because he didn't play.
Right.
Who are the names? And sure enough, I had to call all those names, and all those names I had to call right down to the center, as we call the center. We had to have a meeting, and that was what he taught me. I don't know no vagueness
Mm-hmm.
name, so I knew better. If you go to him, it can't be so and so turn around and said,
Right.
so and so turn around and said. Um, working with Dora Ioana, Kiba, Ridufa, just so many names,
Right.
so many names. But I never forget with Dora Ioana. We had to, we would have our advisory board meetings we had a small crew of representation, Women of Valor, Sisters on the Move, CFF, but it wasn't large,
Right.
everybody was represented on the board. And we had to make some sort of a decision about something. And we felt like we couldn't make it, because we didn't have Dora Dora Joanna there to make it. So I never forget. I think she was going in the kitchen for something, and I followed her, and I was telling her everything. With Dora, we talked about this, and this, and this, and we were kind of like waiting on you. And she turned around, looked at me, and she was like, she said, "Baby," she's called me baby. Waiting on me? No, that's not what you do. You come up with a plan and what you want to do.
I could hear her voice.
She said, baby, no, you know, you don't wait on Doda. You all supposed to think, plan. And then, if you can move on it, fine, but just wait for me to.
Right.
So I became real clear about that. Um, and then most importantly, what I learned was, and I kind of like had the foundation from my father: problem, solution, solve it. Okay. In essence, that's what they taught me. Don't come with a problem.
Right.
Before you come with the problem, you do the best that you can
To solve it.
to figure out
Mm-hmm.
how to solve it and be a part of the solution.
Right.
And I think that was great foundational teaching
Mm-hmm.
for me, because a lot of situations came that I had to turn around and deal with in life, being in the community, just in general. And it was like, if there's a problem, how can we solve this?
Right.
How can we solve it and bring a solution to it?
Right.
And I can say that whole entourage of souls, from Prince Asiel to Doda Chiesa, even Doda Shalemia to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time Doda Shalemia, I was in the process of trying to decide if I was growing out my hair, because I had permed hair,
Mm-hmm.
when I came in. So I was letting it grow. I was letting the perm grow,
Grow out.
grow out. And so I had a perm afro. Okay. And it was here. And then I went somewhere and I just had it all out. Donna Shalane was like, it's either
No, no, no.
this
Or
or
that.
that. She said, that's not going to work, baby. It's either this or that. And I was so hurt, but you look sensitive. We know we may hurt your feelings, but you're tough. You're tough.
They made you tough, whether you wanted to be or
Oh
not.
my goodness. Rakaya, they made me so. They made me tough, but then I began to realize, okay, I am tough.
Mm-hmm.
I can take things.
Right.
And just seeing how the great ambassador tried to, on the political scene, just watching him, how he tried to galvanize, and how he worked so hard to support this infrastructure out
Right.
here. I mean, I was in that office. I saw
So
what he
you
did.
saw day and night,
I saw
24/7, what he was
day
doing.
the night, how he, I would sit there helping all these great politicians come up for New World, and I'm like, when am I gonna go?
Right.
Everybody's going and but we got to get them on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so and so, we got the plane. That was back in the day. I
Mm-hmm.
had to call
Networking, making it
network. I
happen.
mean, and we now the network was this. I was in Chicago. Tovit was in Atlanta.
She told me she was Nasi Gram's
And
secretary.
Batsion was in DC with Nasik Emmanuel.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
And
y'all made it happen.
all three of us, we would just be voo, voo, voo. And I remember Tovit and I talked about it one time. She was like, do you think we'll ever get out of here? Will we ever turn around and go home? And I said, well, I hope we will. But that
Uh,
was that was great. He made me the manager of the juice bar. I mean, I was a manager of the juice bar. I worked in the kitchen, mm, nutrition room. I was a hostess. And then I met very interesting people, that were very prominent on the political scene in Chicago.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna I'm gonna paraphrase, what is the scripture? Beware of entertaining strangers.
Mm,
They may be angels or something unaware.
mm-hmm.
Well, the sisterhood, to raise money, we had groups. We had fundraising groups. And I was over a group, and other sisters were over a group, and we sponsored the Sunday breakfast. Those monies went, to come here, and all kinds of activities that we
Right.
did. And one Sunday when I was there for the breakfast, I was a hostess and I had to coordinate everything. And there was this one beautiful couple. They used to always come in. They came in a lot, but they used to come in a lot of times when I was the hostess, and I would always wait on them, and they were very, very nice to me. And I never, see,
Didn't really know who they were. Just somebody that came in every week,
Just support it,
customers.
And then when I left, I remember when I left to come to Israel, and the Saklia said, they still ask about you. They still ask about you. Where'd you go? And I told them that you came up here with the children. Well, years later, I found out that this man was Abraham Bolden. Abraham Bolden was, I think he was the first Secret Service that was hired by President Kennedy.
Wow.
And if he's been on, lately, he wrote a book and everything about how he saw what was getting ready to come down with the president, what he tried to do to stop it, what they did to him, knowing what he tried to do.
Wow.
And I, I connected with him on Facebook, and I was like, I had no idea. He said, yeah, he was one of the
Wow.
first, but he was so precious, him and his wife, but interesting people
Right.
I've met on this journey.
Right.
In the interim of all that happening, I get married.
So I was getting ready to ask you about that. So while you were doing all of that, wearing all those different hats, you also got married and started a family. Tell me about that. How did you meet your spouse?
My significant other. Well, I told you that Malachi had brought me in.
Right.
Malachi and Liviel are brothers. And Malachi and Liviel grew up with Nsakliel. Okay. Now, when I did come in, Malachi and I, we were in a brief Mikodeshet, but that didn't work out.
Okay.
We moved on our own ways. And then Nsakliel had come from Liberia after the war.
So wait, he had already been in Liberia.
Yeah, he was in Liberia.
And then he came back to
And
the
then
US.
he came back.
Okay.
Many of the saints that had come
Right.
back because of the war. And he was very, very frail. I mean, I hope I'm encouraging him to come and do his interview also. At one point when Malachi and I were in pursuit of each other, at least I like movies and film. And that was in backtracking when I kind of like realized what I really, 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 really wanted to do. I was going to combine all of the experience that I had learned in the advertising agency, and with my father's love of writing, I put it all together. And that's when I realized that I wanted to be a screenwriter.
Oh,
I wanted to be
okay.
a film screenwriter.
Okay.
Right before had the pretty eye, pretty smile discount encounter, I had applied to several. I wanted to go to graduate school, and I applied to Columbia in Chicago. I think some school in New York. I don't remember, but Columbia in particular because they had a great film department, and I was going to pursue my graduate degree in film and writing and all of that. But with the aspirations of going to Hollywood, thank goodness that didn't work out. But either way, one day we were talking about movies, right? And he was like, my goodness, you really are in the movies. You know who wrote it, you know who directed it, you know who did you just know everything. And I said, well, I like the behind the scenes.
Right.
Now some people had it thought that in backtracking again, I had the model face, I was posed with that about the potential to be a model, maybe go into acting or something like that. But I didn't want to do anything.
Right.
I wanted behind the scenes action.
Okay.
So he said, you know what? He said, there's this brother, and he didn't say this Akmel's name. He said, there's this brother, he's just like you. He's in the movies too. And he knows who directed so and so. Don't nobody care about that mess. But yeah, but he does. It seems like you do too. Well, what happens? I'm leaving out of in the restaurant center, that whole complex. I was going outside for something. As I was going outside, he was coming in. And I think Malachi showed me, I hadn't seen him. And so I looked up and I looked up and he said, oh, I said, I heard about you. You like movies and everything like me. Well, he didn't have on his glasses at that time. So he looked down at me and he's like, who are you? So then as time went on, we 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 came together, but this is how it really, really happened. When you worked at the restaurant, you had a lot of duties. Okay, you had to hostess, and then you had to prep the food and all of that. And the sisters had to prep. We had to prep all of the food for the meals. And I was prepping. I didn't grow up a food person. I mean, I was in the vicinity of the kitchen, but I didn't. I told you
Right,
earlier, I
right,
miss my parents' whole focus was study, 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 study. Now, I did little chores and everything, but couldn't be in
right.
the kitchen, none of that. So when I was presented with this restaurant duty, by which it was Akashriel was the first one. He when I began to work at First Africa, he said, "Ahmanheet, what do you do? Do you have any time to put into the restaurant?" And I was like, "Fine, I hostess, but Rakaya, all this 2 garbage bags of greens, finely chopped onions and peppers and picking. I've been there crying,
I know.
literally crying tears. And then the fact that, home economics was still being taught when I was in high school.
Yeah,
And I used to make fun of girls that I said, who would want to do that?
we had it in junior high school.
I mean, I would pass by the room and I'd see them with the ironing board. I was like,
Oh no, we only had cooking. We did cooking and sewing.
I saw it all, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do all this. Of course, the creator said, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. Watch this.
So anyway, one of these days I'm in there struggling, trying to prep and do whatever, and he was washing dishes. He washed dishes. Now when he came back, before he went to Liberia, he was in college. He was in his last year of college studying to be an engineer.
And he dropped out?
Yeah,
Oh,
dropped it. He asked, he came by way of Malachi and Leviel, all in that group, Asar Yadiel, they all grew up in the same neighborhood. Naaman, many people where they lived, they knew.
okay.
And went and told Nasiah he wanted to go to Africa. They said, fine. So he went over. So basically, he just sat there and just started helping me prep. And then, of course, what was it? JFK, the movie JFK had come out and
Mm-hmm.
conspiracy and all that, which I found out he was all into that. So we started talking about movies and like I told you, da da da, and he's helping me. And then they came and they said, it's like they're supposed to be washing the dishes. Oh yeah, I'm coming. And so I was finished. So that's how we got started. And then
Does he help you in the cut attention on now?
he does. He has his moments. But I'm gonna tell you what was even funnier was that when we really, really began to pursue each other, it was his birthday. And of course, what do we want to do? We want to go to the movies. So he said, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do it like this. What movie do you want to see? And what movie do I want to see? So he went to 2 movies in one night.
Oh,
I said
okay.
what I wanted to see. And he saw what he wanted to see. And then on top of all that, I remember he gave me for a gift. I don't know if it was around my birthday or some celebrating thing. And he gave me 2 books. It's like I'm not used to a man giving me books, just
Right,
book. We talked about books, right?
right.
Oh, but these were some good books. They were good crime books too. But then I asked him, I said, books? I said, flowers?
Right.
Books? But hey, that's how. That's how. So we married in 95. And it was interesting because we were in Mikodeshit when I became a woman of valor.
Okay.
And I mean, you know how sometimes we have these feelings about these entities and titles and all those kinds of things. And I asked him, I said, well, the first thing I told him when we decided that we wanted to get married, I said, now this housewife, I mean, I struggle in that area because
Right,
I'm
right.
a Miss Corporate, Miss Educated, Miss whatever you want to call it. He said, it's okay. We got this. And then I told her, about the children, because my mother had problems having children. So I was I
Mhm.
was I was a little bit worried about that. And then when I became a Valor, I mean, he was I seen your brother and everything. And I said, well, I know how sometimes people feel about these titles. I said, well, does it bother you? Because we talked
Right,
honestly.
right. Well, that's great.
And I said, well, does it bother you? He said, no. It just means that my wife is a woman of valor. And I said, okay. So we proceeded on our journey. We were married in February 4th in Chicago. We had a whirlwind of a wedding. I think Tovito tell you that also. We were part of Abba had sent Coin Benkesset. Abba has sent Coin Benkesset out to the States to marry the brothers and sisters that wanted to be married.
Okay.
And he came on a whirlwind. Um, I thought I at least had a month to plan the wedding. When he came, I was told I only had 2 weeks, and we had to find the place. I remember my father, bless my father, so he drove me around to different places, where we could possibly have it. Then I had to have the dresses for sisters and the brother, and that was one major argument that Nasakleyal got into us about. He wanted to wear this, I wanted yellow. He wanted another color. So we're like, no, 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 no. We're fussing and fighting about that. But either way, that wedding.
So your parents did come to the wedding. Your parents were okay with it
Well,
after you got inside and all of that.
well, okay, my parents. I think what my parents were concerned about, because in backtracking, when I was with Malachi, Malachi had children. He had about 7 children at the time.
Oh, okay.
And when I thought we were going to go in that direction of a possible marriage, then I did what I felt that I needed to do because I wanted to be a part of their lives. Okay. So of course I helped in certain areas of maybe taking care of them and so forth. And I remember Malachi came with all of them in the car, and he pulled up in the driveway, right? And my father went, just to look. And, and he was
That
like,
was an important part that you left out when you were talking about your parents.
and he said, he said, we raised her to get on in there and do what she had to do, but they knew me.
But we didn't think you was going to do all of that.
We didn't think you were going to do all of that. Okay. But but either way, they loved Encyclopedia. Instantly,
Wow.
instantly were into him. And all you can say son-in-law. It was like all that together. And when it came time for the wedding, my mother, she didn't want to. She wanted to dress how she wanted to dress.
Right.
I didn't really, but we had these garments. Okay, we had purchased these garments, right? And so my father said, "Well, what do I have to wear? What do you want me to wear? If you don't want me," because he told me we only have one daughter.
Right.
Walk her down the aisle. So he said, "What do you want me to wear?" So Atara Alea, she had made all the garments, and she had made my father's white garment and my mother's. My mother's, she wore green and my father wore white. And she fussed, she fussed. My mother and my father, they were like night and day, but they were glue. They were glue. And I remember we I don't know where we went to the house or something to look at the garments and everything, and she was just a fussing and fussing and fussing. And my father said, "No, you're gonna put that garment on. Okay? I'm gonna wear this white, and you're gonna put that garment on. Our child is getting married. Only this is a one-time event.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna hurt you."
Right.
So she took, and he walked, you guys had the picture. He walked me, down the house. We were married in February, got pregnant with Yehoshua around April,
Okay.
and had him in December. And I remember, I think the thing, for my mother in particular, uh, I mean, we had a hard relationship, but always knew that she loved me.
Right.
Always.
Right.
And as a mother now, I know,
Right.
we may not come off right, but really we really have our children's
Right.
best interest. And
Absolutely.
that's all
Always.
that's all
Always.
that's all she ever had, Rakai. That's all she really ever had. It was how she expressed it that I couldn't
Right.
quite deal with, but but I remember her when she fussed so like that, because it was just the four of us. It was just the four of us in Chicago. We had an extended family in Washington and down south. Her thing was, I don't know how you're going to find people that are just going to love you, love you, love you, love you, like me and your father love you,
Right.
especially for you making the changes that you've
That
made
you're
in your
making.
life,
Yeah.
with these people. And it came out that when I had Yehoshua, the sisters, Atara Rihanna, Ridafine and Kiba, they came. I went to stay with Rihanna after I had him. They, as you say, on our days.
On your
It
days.
wasn't like a Bakain, but they
Right.
created an experience
Right.
for me to have a Bakain. And and that's what my father told my mother. He said, "We're wrong." My mother's name is Jacqueline or Jackie. My father's name Herbert. And he said, "Jackie, we're wrong." He said, "They love her. They
Mm-hmm.
love our child. We don't have anything to worry about. They love her. And I think my mother was like, yeah, they took her and they doing all this for her. So Osha was the first, then Yosef came. In the meantime, I was still, fulfilling my duties as a woman of valor, working as a secretary, everything. But well, by this time, however, Acha Ariana at the time, she had made a move to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I became Nasi Asiel's official secretary. And even then, it was like, you can handle it, can't you? I know you can.
With the baby
I know
and the
you.
husband.
I know you can. I know you can. Oh, Nedova, bless her soul, she would cook, and then she would come and get Yehoshua and take him in a stroller and walk him all around the block. And then I had at the time, one of those hanging straddle things to
Mm-hmm.
put the baby in. I mean, I brought the crib. I brought the crib down to the office.
Oh my goodness.
I bought the crib. No, I bought the crib down to the office. I bought the crib down to the office, and at least I think what happened to me in that moment, Rakaya, was that I wanted marriage and motherhood, but I didn't quite know how to handle it. So I handled it in the way of what I was comfortable with, which was working in the office. So I bought it there. And I bought Yehoshua there. And
Nothing like on the job daycare.
and everybody helped me take care of him. I mean, as I was
Oh, that's
handling
a
everything,
blessing.
and like I said, Nedivai came and she walked him around and everything. And then eventually, we found someone to care for him. But I was doing all that full time.
Mm-hmm.
But when Yosef came, Yosef was born in 98, having my second child. Well, no, and listening to everyone that came before us at the podium talking about coming to Israel, coming to Israel, coming to Israel. And I think I told you that was my fear,
Right.
was leaving my parents and leaving and actually thinking that I would be brave enough to even do that.
Right.
But one thing that I did say was this: as I would listen, as Nasi was, got to get home, got to get home. I said, I don't want it. I let it be when I'm ready. Please just let it be when I'm ready to
And
go.
not before.
Not before. I don't want to be like I have no choice.
Right.
I don't want to be forced.
Right.
Just let me be ready, because at least if I'm ready, then
Then you can deal with
I can
whatever.
deal with whatever. But if I'm not ready and all that, then I don't like that. So that's what happened. I got pregnant with Yosef, and I remember I was at home and I was typing something on the computer, and all of a sudden I stopped, and I heard this voice say, "It's time to go."
Mm.
That's what I heard, Rikai. It's time to go. And I think I was doing something and I stopped, and this Sockleo said, what's the matter? And I looked at him and I said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that could have caused something, but he wasn't ready to go. But then he was in a position where he couldn't go. So he said, okay. He said, well, let's do what we need to do.
You say he was not ready
He
to
was
go?
not ready. He
Mm-hmm.
was ready. I mean, financially, everything.
Right.
It wouldn't have been wise.
Right.
And then he wasn't ready within
Right.
himself.
Within himself.
But he didn't say,
Because he had just got back from Liberia,
yeah,
that experience. So
yeah,
him thinking
yeah,
about going somewhere else
right.
could be, a whole nother kind of
But he
way.
didn't stop me. He said,
Right.
okay, well, I'm all good. Then I'll just focus, and let's just do what's needed to do to get you and Yehoshua and Yosef home. Because Yehoshua was 2.5, and by that time I had made that decision, Yosef was about 6 months. And once I was ready, uh, now, now, now I had to really be tough, because I
You get
was,
ready to come somewhere with two babies
yeah,
by yourself.
yeah. And I had to prepare myself to tell Prince Asiel. And I wrote him a letter. I wrote him a letter. I did. And some would say I was being a little bit dramatic, but I wasn't. It was like, I feel like I need to go now. I feel like if I don't go now, I won't have that opportunity. I won't be able to move with the confidence of what I have, and I don't want to lose my mind. Something along that.
Right. How did he take it?
He called me in the office, and he called me and Sacleo together, and he sat us down, and then, and then he said, he positioned himself, This was after, because he had his specialties. This was after I bought him his broccoli and scrambled tofu and his breakfast, because sometimes that was a part of my duty also, fixing his special breakfast. He said, so now this letter. He said, so what? And he said, so you won't go crazy.
So you knew he had read and understood it all.
Yeah. Yes, he read that letter because I was around him. I know what he would read and what he wouldn't read. He read that letter. But he said, in all seriousness, no problem.
Oh, wow.
He said that he liked us as a couple, as a pair. He thought that he said, we've got something, And then that was when he told me something about myself. He said, Ahmanheet, he said, you understand. He said, you understand things. He said, you have a way of understanding things and you have a way of seeing things that's very, very important. And he said, carry that with you. And from there, hey, and everybody that I told, Doriana was like, you're not going anywhere. I said, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Kiba, no, you're not. You're not leaving us. Yes. And then at that time, Atara Shifra, she had also made her, we both made the announcement in the advisory board meeting with Doriana, Kiba, and the sisters. We're out of here. And nobody believed it. But Atara Shifra was serious. And so she left 1 week before I did. And when time came, we had a little bit of a struggle. And that Abba, all the things that we were doing, Abba had said he had made the suggestion that I only bring one child.
And that was not getting ready to happen, right?
Oh, Rakaya, I froze. I think the universe knew what I could take. I think in my mind, I probably would have tried to, I had already done some sort of preparation. My parents were like, okay, what do we need to do? We'll have to prepare them. I was leaving with their grandchildren. Okay, well, we'll take care of so and so until, I had said it in my mind, but I knew deep down inside.
So you were going to leave one of them there?
I was. But the universe said no.
Well, I mean, his father was there, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like,
But I can need your y'all to call back. And she told Sarah to say the message, no, bring them both. All three of y'all coming. So we left and the holiday of Shavuot. We arrived here.
Okay.
In 99. And when we got on the plane in Chicago.
So I have 89, 90. That was incorrect. That you came to Israel in 89.
I was introduced.
So you came into the nation around
89.
But you came home in 99.
I came home. We said our goodbyes, at the airport, me and the Sacleo, and my father drove us to the airport. I kind of told her, I straight up didn't necessarily tell my parents the truth, that I really, really was coming over here to stay. I came with my story.
I'm clear.
And they didn't believe me, but they went along with it. But my father knew. My father was very, very clear.
Yeah.
And he just said, and he understood it because that's what he did in his life. When he left his parents, he moved. He said, I understand what you're doing. Trust me, I understand what you're doing. And but he drove me. But I think he knew. I never saw him again after that because he passed when I was over here. But he drove us to the airport. And, me and the Sacleo, we said our goodbyes. And we sitting in the plane, right? And the first one, I got two babies.
You came with just you and the two babies, or did you come with someone? Somebody helped
me,
you?
No, it was just me and the two boys.
Oh, wow.
Me, Yehoshua, and Yosef.
Okay.
And we were sitting on the plane. And at first I was like, I hope they act, you got babies on the plane,
Right.
And they fell asleep. And then what ended up happening, the weather, there was a storm or something in New York. So we sat on the runway in Chicago for 3 hours.
Oh.
We sat on the runway for 3 hours. And they
knocked out.
Knocked out. We going to sleep. You'd figure this out on your own. But they were super. They were super. So we came and we got here that sundown of no, going into Shavuot.
Okay.
And I went straight to my Abba's house, Saya Saskar, Nasika Saskar. That's my family.
Okay. So, but you didn't know them prior to getting here.
I did.
You did? How
I
did you
did.
know them prior to getting here?
Oh boy. Well, I came in 91, not long after I came into
Okay.
the
You
community.
came to visit.
I came to visit for the sister conference dressed in orange.
We talked those orange tie-dye.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now I was many people say I was naive, but I wasn't so naive like that. When I really became involved and I got myself,
Right.
on this journey, I wanted to come to Israel because I wanted to see because everybody kept talking about Israel, Israel,
Yeah.
Israel,
At
Israel.
least come and see instead of just coming
Yeah,
home for the first time
right.
and staying like I did.
Well, Nisakliel never saw. He didn't see for 15 years. He went from Chicago to
To Liberia.
Liberia, back to Chicago. He had never been to Israel. He didn't come to Israel till we came the second time when we came with Yehoshua. But I came in 91. I came in 91 for the sister because I asked Prince Asiel, I said, I want to go see. We had that kind of a relationship.
Right.
I need to see. I mean, I'm living this
Right.
life here. I'm in the communal living. I mean, when I become a part of something, that's what people say. When I got myself involved, I did everything.
Hook,
The
line, and
diet,
sinker.
everything. I said, but now I got to see Israel.
Right.
And so I came in 91. And when I came in 91, that was when I met me, Atara Shifra, and Mai Yikrat, who was married to Nasi Elkanan.
Okay.
We all stayed together in the room. And for every week, we stayed 3 weeks, and for each week, a different sister came to stay with us. My Ima Gilatia came one week,
Okay.
Dota Kokovatia came one week, Dota Marnina came one week, and Dota Nam came one week.
Okay.
And so we listening to all my Ima Gilatia talked about how she just came over here to visit and left her
And never
car,
left. Right.
left her car in the airport. All Dota Nam, all these stories that I'm hearing. But then I began to hear when I was up here about, you have your spiritual parents
Right.
and your family and your mothers,
Uh-huh.
fathers. And I loved everybody, but it was something about Ima Galatia that I made a connection with.
Right.
So on our last day 2 days before we were getting ready to travel, they took us on a trip to Tel Aviv. We went to the restaurant, we went to the movies, and then we went to the guest house where the Crown Sisters they were on their vacation, right? Their
Mm-hmm.
yearly vacation. And she happened to be there. And I kept wondering, I said, well, is it some sort of a process I'm supposed to ask, you know, for someone to be my mother or something
Right.
like that? And I just said, will you be my Ima? She said, Kane. She said, yes, I will. She said, I knew you wanted to ask me. I said, as a matter of fact, she helped me a lot with the wedding, even from Israel, get my Echo shoes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I came home for the second time with Nasakliel, that's when everybody in the family became my family. My Abba, Nasik Yasaskar, him, Imanafshi, Ima Samakius.
Right.
That's the foundation of
Right.
my spiritual family. Love you all, my sisters.
Trying to get Ima Gilati over here.
A story. We all have
She's
stories.
also my Ima by marriage when I married my children's father.
Okay.
She was his Ima, so she became my Ima.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So that's how you got home.
Mhm.
When you came home with the two babies by yourself.
Mhm.
How did you manage? Where did you live? What did you do?
Well, this is when my Dodak Yezer came to my rescue. All the time that I was in Chicago and having come to visit here, my automatic thinking was you go home and you live on the kifah, and that's the end of the discussion,
Right.
you know. But thank goodness to Dode, about 3 months before we came, me and the boys came, Dode had called me and he spoke to Nisakliel. And he said, I'm just proposing that your family come and stay with my family. Okay. And we were like, okay, sure. But in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, Abba has everything all taken care of. I just know I'm going to live on the kafar. Well, that when we got here that Shavuot, we celebrated and did everything. And then that Yom Shishi night, as before sundown, my Abba came and got me. She said, "Come on, baby girl, wake up," because I had gone in the girls' room and was laying down, getting ready to go to sleep. He said, "Come on, get your stuff, get your stuff. You getting ready to go down to Dode Akia's house?" And I was like, "Oh," I said, "Oh, okay." So I went. I went to my Dode Akia's house and Dode Sigula, Dode Ezria, and Eliat and Dode Eliezer and the children, and that's where I stayed. And they made me tough too. They made me tough. I never will forget Dada Sigala, because Dada Sigala is a Valor. She said, Ahmanheet, we go to the Valor's meetings on Sundays, okay? We gonna leave here at a certain time. If you're not ready, I'm leaving you, okay? She said that now, if you're not ready, I'm leaving you, okay? Cane, Dada. But then my dode, oh man, I got there. And I think I was still kind of like in the twilight zone, being there. I hadn't really unpacked anything. And there was a mess because I think Nigmadia had been in that room and she had moved. So the room was in transition. Off a minute, he said, now. And I said, uh-oh, I'm getting ready to get. He said, now, I want you to call Nisakliel and tell him to send the money to get you a bed, a room. He said, I want that room in order. Is that clear? You are not coming over here to sleep on the floor and to live out no suitcases. Is that clear? Top soldier. I said, King dog. He said, I want that room together too. I want you to do whatever. And Rakaya, I never will forget, we were sitting in the house meeting and Dada Israel was like, Ahmanheet, you really fixing up your room, aren't you? I said, yeah, I'm on it now. I got the wisdom, so
Hallelujah.
I stayed with their family.
So before we go into the trivia cards, you have your name here. Did you want to?
Yes. Okay. So, Ahmanheet. This is my name officially from Abba. Now, for history's sake, when I first or officially joined the community, my name was Ahmanheet.
Ahmahneet.
Ahmanheet. Okay.
Somebody else gave you your name.
Yes, they did, which I didn't know. I thought I automatically assumed that. And then when I came home, Ahmanheet was one who is possessed with honesty, integrity, and has stability in the kingdom of heaven. It was 3 sentences. When I came home in 97 with Nisakliel for the first time, I got a knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning from.
Wait, you came home in 91. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
91, and then I
You came home in 91 by yourself.
Yes.
Then you came home in 97 with
Zakriel
Zakiel
and Yehoshua.
and Joshua.
And then I
Then you
came.
went back.
Right.
Then you came back in 99.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So when the family came in 97, Rafia knocked on my door at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she said, Abba wants to know who gave you your name. And I said, I thought it was him. And she said, no. He said, your name has 2 different roots. We want to get you. So then, before I left, then that's when he sent me Ahmanheet, which is highly skilled and trustworthy.
Okay.
So I was renamed.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take a picture of that if it's okay, and then I'll put it in your video.
Okay.
Okay, so these are our trivia cards. We have 4 different categories. How many colors is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 different categories. And so you just pick a card, hand it to me. I'll read it. And we'll look at what category it is and the question. And if you can answer, cool. And if you can't, you can't.
Okay, so just pick one
Just
card.
pick one, or you can pick all four of them now if you want to, and just hand them to me or hand them to me, and
I pick 4 cards total.
you can.
Okay.
One of each color. Okay, so we got 4 cards. Okay, so the orange one is fill in the blank. Now, fill in the blank is the first babies born in hospitals in Liberia and Israel. You have any idea who were the first babies born in Phoebe Hospital in Liberia and in Soroka Hospital in Israel?
Shamaria?
Nope.
I don't know.
Okay, so Phoebe Hospital in
Okay.
Liberia, the first baby was Kiran bin Sarbakoria and Abigail Bat Ahot Bashan.
Okay.
Okay. In Soroka, it was Aaron bin Nasik El Hanan and Atratahila, and Jaela Bat Nasik Gavria and Atratakia.
Okay.
Learn something new today.
Yes.
Okay. Your personal thoughts on healing, forgiveness, trauma, mental health.
Whoa. Well, I can personally say that I had to have some outside help through therapy. That helped me to come to the core of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the healing begins when you can deal with the core of yourself. You can understand what you did and what you didn't do before you kind of go out there on others.
Right.
That's tremendously helped me. I know that there's been different opinions about outside help in terms of therapy. If that's not something that you're comfortable with, then I understand. You have to find your own
Niche. What works for
niche
you?
and what works for you. I do feel that from this experience, we have some tools that we can work with that can help us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, my great brother and friend Rofei Hosh with the iridology. It's not just physical.
Right.
It's also you can see some mental and some spiritual things. I know that for a
Right.
fact. Okay, we have tools here,
That are available.
but we have to sometimes intertwine them with maybe something on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
If that worked for me.
Okay. All right. And favorites. Your favorite national and your favorite traditional event in the kingdom.
I'm gonna say the holidays, only in the sense of the great experience that I had at Buy at 403
Okay.
with Timonana Daya.
Okay.
That's when it was when we all being in that.
Oh, you lived there with them too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Buy 403 forever. Love them forever. It was how we made things happen.
Mm-hmm.
How we really made the holidays special, for all of us.
Right.
I enjoyed that. Now, if I'm going to go higher than, I will say New World. Now, originally, New World was a little bit stressful
Yes, back in the day.
back in the day, but I find that now it's just it's good to connect. Just it's good to see so many people that have been on this journey that somehow or another you find a way to have a connection with them, or even if you don't,
Right.
still have a
Right.
connection.
You're right.
So that's
Just this shared experience
the
is a
shared
connection
experience. The
in and
shared
of
experience.
itself.
The shared experience.
So,
That's it for me.
okay. So we can either pick 4 more or we can move on to the next question.
Next question.
Okay, the next questions. Okay, so we'll put these away. Okay, so now we've moved to the section about our youth. So, wait a minute, did I cover all of the stuff on your question thing? Yep, the ministry of divine performing arts.
Oh, okay. and the Writers Guild.
Okay, so those two, yeah. The Writers Guild and the Ministry of Performing
Performing
Arts.
arts. Okay, okay. Um, when I first, well, in Chicago, uh, Nasir ICL had he brought a form of the School of the Prophets to Chicago through the prophet Navi, Navi,
Aknavi.
and Malaya.
Mm-hmm.
They were our teachers.
Okay.
So that's when I was introduced to the teachings and everything. When I got home, though, and I heard about the School of the Prophets, I didn't set foot near there because it was such a serious institution. And me knowing what I know about Nasi Shirley, because I am not getting ready to go up in there and not be serious.
Mm-hmm.
And because motherhood and everything and all
Right.
my responsibilities. But what happened, and I have to tell this story, was that remember I told you I was interested in film and
Right.
all of that. Well, I was having a really, really bad day one day, and children, just everything. So I said, I'm gonna go to the Me's known and buy them something to eat, and then I can just go do whatever I have to do. And as I was on my way, there was a poster in front of the Me's known where the School of the Prophets was looking for brothers and sisters that were interested in bringing Yeshua,
The Hebrew Messiah
Yeshua the Hebrew Messiah,
or Jesus the
Jesus
Christian
Christian Christ,
Christ.
and make it a film.
Oh.
So I was like, whoa. So I ran up to the School of the Prophets, and my big brother
Cosriel.
Sarkazriel was up there, and I asked. I said, "Well, did you have to be in the School of the Prophets? You say anybody can come?" He said, "Baby, sis, come." So I went to the meeting, and I was like, "Oof." I was
You.
I said, "Okay."
It fixed up, huh?
And now we took some detours. Didn't quite work out like we wanted. I mean, we did a pre-play or something. We did
Mm-hmm.
put it in a pre-play form. And I kind of expressed my disappointment because I was on this thing, but that's not what Abba asked for. He asked for a film,
Right.
you know. But either way, I got involved in it. And then because it was writing and performing, I said, maybe I do need to go to the School of the Prophets. So I did my fundamental 2 years. And then in the interim, I studied Torah also.
Oh, okay.
And then finally, when it came, I had to have the foundation before I could pick what I wanted to do.
Right.
So when I saw performing arts, I didn't look at it as, I mean, I looked at it as singing and dancing, but I was more or less thinking in the fine arts,
Mm-hmm.
writing and everything. So I said, well, if I want to do that and I want to really get into this film, let me go on ahead and, study this. So when I filled out the application, I never will forget Acote Ahmahneet. She came downstairs. I was in my room and she was like, Ahmanheet, this what you want to study? Divine Performing Arts? What was it? Not divine statesmanship, statesmanship. I said, no. I said, I want to do this. And she was like, now, of course, Zura, she had been on the path and she was the first to get her degree.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but this is what I want to do. What I didn't realize was that now at the time when I was the only student, period. And so I sat up under the tutelage of Nasi Keskiahu and More Ishmael by myself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Nasik went through those scriptures, tying in the sound and the
Mm-hmm.
music. He had his portion, and then when it came to More Ishmael, now he he took me somewhere else, studying music, notes, sound, correlating it with the scriptures, had me writing music. I was like, and then when it became so mathematical, because I'm not a mathematical person,
Mm-hmm.
with me, I'm literary and the psychology mathematical, and I was like, but my mind was like helping me to understand sound. He had me writing rhythms and melodies and
Wow.
it took me somewhere else. So I took great pride in my degree in my studies that I had with those great souls, because I mean, it was just me and them. There was no other
One on one.
one on one. Now, what happened was that when we had to have our sojourn down in A lot for certain things that we had to take care of with our family, my studies got interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came back, I had decided, I was only going to focus on many things. The A lot sojourn was an interesting sojourn in that it made me more rooted in focusing only on particular things instead
Mm-hmm.
of trying to be everywhere.
Right.
When I came back, I just wanted to focus on the Women of Valor and getting my degree. So when I got back, I asked Nasik and More Ishmael, how could I resume my studies? Well, Nasik said that I pretty much completed what I needed to complete with him. So he just said, just continue with More Ishmael. So for a whole year, I came on Fridays because we had to work out the day.
The schedule would
We had
just,
to work out.
since it was one on one, you
Right.
could do that,
And I
right?
and I and Atara and I called Atara said, you all have to work it out, but as long as you all work it out and you complete what's needed to be done, then you'll be able to get your degree. So I came on Fridays, got back, before, the buses stop.
Right. Stop running.
And
And that's when you finished your a lot sojourn. That's when you all went to your Yorocum.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I came back and I did that. In the interim, because of the writing and me becoming fascinated with our stories, I was trying to reinvent the wheel. And I was like, why would you do that? We have an infrastructure. That's when I looked into the Writers Guild, the Shadeg Ben Yehuda's Writers Guild. And I
Okay.
connected with
Atrakaviva.
Atara, my daughter Kaviva. And, all accolades to her. The thing that I learned about her was that she was passionate about the guild, and she was especially passionate about what she told me what Nasi Shadeg had wanted her to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was always,
Her driving
her
force.
drive and her driving force. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
when she would ask you to do something, she would do it because she'd do the A before the A, in between, and the Z after
Right.
the Z, because that's just how that her zeal
Right.
was based on her compassion and her passion and her commitment, and it was through there that many people just came with stories. Now, I want to say something in particular because where I really, really got fascinated about the stories, again, everybody knows I'm a secretary. Well, daughter Azria, she wanted me to type up something. She said, we have to type up some sort of biography, baby. The Crown Sisters need something.
Right.
So I said, okay. And then my daughter came. They were stories. I mean, she talked about getting on the plane with daughter. All stories. And my daughter talked about how she almost lost Shifra. And I was like, we passed each other
Right.
by. But everybody's got
Everybody's got a
got
story.
something back there.
Yes.
And so that's when I became a part of the Writers Guild, and Naomi and Naomi, Eshet, Shmuel, we had a synergy. We had a synergy that we worked very, very well together. And that's why we did the book fairs. That's what, everything was a step up to encourage these stories, just like I said, like what Impregnable People did for me, and the little bit that Dora Ajria and my daughter and everybody shared. That's why I had the commitment of the book and working with the Writers Guild.
Wow.
It was something that I can say that Dora Kaviva, she strived to do that, but it was so many entities within it
Right.
that she really couldn't focus on it like she wanted to focus on
Right.
it. So it's like, when I joined the train of it, that's where my mind was.
Right.
And then when Naomi came, it's like that's where what our focus on was these stories. How do we get these stories in?
Well, the stories have to be told.
And some people came. Some people were inspired. Some people
Mhm.
were inspired by the new direction. Some people actually, they wrote books. They, they've been trying to do it. But I will say that's still do that within that infrastructure and that entity. But then, like I say, you've come with this
Well, we
avenue.
can actually do both because, like I was saying, this does the transcripts for you. We can use that as a foundation and build on it
Right.
because all of those stories do need to be told. And having done the biography series with the students before, it would be we could very well do that. So I will definitely lend myself to assisting in that
Doing.
regard. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So the next question. How do you envision our youth in regard to them continuing what we've spent many years of our lives building and being a part of? What advice would you give them? What three things do you want most for them?
Mm, okay. Well, over the years, from family and friends, I've always been asked, even sometimes, from my parents. What I will say is that on my father's deathbed, and I say on his deathbed, he told my mother, he said, you must go visit Jill and the grandchildren. He said, I'm not gonna make it, but
Uh-huh.
I want you. And all that fussing that you've done, all that fussing fighting, but you get over there. I want you
Mhm.
to see. And what he said was, he said, but Jill is okay. Trust me, Jackie. She's okay. She ended up where she needed to be. So I'm gonna build on that foundation. Now, of course, me and all of us, we've all been asked why? Why would we leave, to build this? Now I know in all that searching that I was doing that I told you about in the beginning, in my early years, trying to figure out what I was supposed to be doing
Right.
and everything. In one of my moments of quietness, because I didn't sometimes value my own voice when I would listen to myself, because I just thought that just sounds so dumb. But really, I think what gravitated to me in everything was peace on earth, heaven on earth. Now, I used to be embarrassed to say that because I was like, that is so corny. That's so cliche. But really, huh, I feel that anyone that embarked on this journey, somewhere in there, that's what we were looking for. And we might
Peace
have
on earth.
peace on earth. Now we might have got a little naive
Mm-hmm.
because of what we left.
Right.
Okay. But I know that when I came on this, I was looking for something different and something that I could give whoever I was going to create,
Right.
which is, like I said, our five blessings: Yehoshua, Yosef, Hila, Yonathan, Yehoshaphat. Now, in creating them, our life took some interesting turns in which the journey that we set on got a little bit diverted.
Right.
Okay. So all that we put into them got set on another path and certain things were lost.
Right.
Okay. But here's the thing. We went on a family trip last year. We took them to the States. We were blessed that our whole family
Was able to go.
was able to go to America. And we took them to we went to three places. We started in Atlanta because that's where we had to see Safta, my mother. She's the remaining grandmother, and we wanted to make sure that she saw her grandchildren because that's what she has been. I want to see my grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
She came 5 times to Israel. But she said she knew she wasn't coming back. So we went to Atlanta. Then we took them to our history in Washington, D.C., where my mother was born, where my father was,
Mm-hmm.
spent a lot of his adult life. And then, of course, we took them to Chicago because that's where Nasakliel
Right.
and I were born. And at some point on the journey, they understood. They said, okay, we enjoyed our family and it was good connecting, but now we see.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of see. Now I feel that what we created in them through this experience was another level of connection that they have
Connection
with themselves, with everybody. Um, We came here. We had to eat. We had to dress. We had to turn around and live together because we had to learn to love each other. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I was in my big. If I take you to the house that we grew up with, you'd be like, "What?" I was over here. You were over there.
Mm-hmm.
We all came from different walks of life,
Right.
and we had to have this commonality that could make us be glued together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. That's not what our children need. They know
Okay.
how to. It's something that they have, and I think the only way that I could tell it is to tell this story. Um, when we lost Tovit
Right.
and Miria and all the young daughters and sons that were close to Tovit, how they rallied around to take care of her sister. It was just automatic. Make sure she had everything she needed. Another story. I was my other dear sister and friend who I miss, Ilana Simkia.
Yes.
We were on our. I had come up to the. We come up to because I used to help her make her product, and we went up to the kifah to deliver and everything, and Donna Afra and Nasik's son, he was driving a taxi at the time.
Uh, um, Zavaja.
Zavadia and Sarmadiel and Sarmadiel's Rakida, their son.
Amitan.
Yes, yes. So we were in the car, and son said, "Okay, I'm gonna drop you all off, but I need to drop off Amitan first." Okay, so we riding down the street. Amitan says, "Stop, stop! Wait a minute!" And we like, "What happened?" And Acote Ahmahneet from who was from London.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. She was upset about something. She walked into a pole, and she didn't. She was lying on the street. He jumped up. He jumped out the car. He said, "Well, Dora, what's the matter?" You know, and picked her up. We just, and walked over there to Mirage Place. He busted up into who's here? Who's here? That's another thing our youth have. They're
Yeah.
aggressive. They don't
Yes.
play.
Yes.
They
Yes.
take charge. Walked right in. I need to see a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Went past everybody, went into the room, laid on the table. Okay, da 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 da. Oh, they checked everything is fine. He said, "What do you mean everything is fine? Did you make sure she's you okay, da da?" Now and I'm going to say this. Sometimes we tend to be a little bit judgmental about who we want to be involved with and who we don't. I'm going to say that. Who we want to be involved with and who we don't.
That is the truth.
That young son didn't care nothing about that. As far as he was concerned, there was a doda laying on the ground that needed
And
some
she
help.
needed help.
And she needed help. I went to Ashkelon. Me and my daughter, we needed some mother and daughter time. I went to the store and I didn't have enough cash. I needed to go to a cash station. I'm running all around. All of a sudden, somebody said, Doda. It was Akpakadiel's son. He said, Doda, hey, Doda, how you? Then gave me a vote.
Give a kavod.
He said, Doda, do you need something? I said, yeah, I'm checking. Oh, okay, go down there. There's a so-and-so down there, because I needed that. I mean, I
Right.
needed that. And then I came back and I said, you helped me so much. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, what's your name?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He said, my name is so-and-so. I'm
Akpakadios.
Akpakadiel in the code,
Tiflna.
Tifuna son. I said, thank you. Our children that we created see, they see. They don't need necessarily to wear the cords and blue fringes, whether they're here, they're not going to forget. They don't forget. I heard my son talking the other day with Amram from Bio4. He just happened to call when we were together,
Mm-hmm.
talking about all the memories. We gave them something.
Yes.
We created something now. Now how they choose to express it.
How they choose to express it is not necessarily going to be how we did it or what we might expect or desire.
Keep it real.
Yeah.
Be with your families, build your family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we made a lot of sacrifices. You know, we tried. I'm not making excuses, but you know, we made sacrifices for our family sometimes that maybe have cost us our families to a
Right.
degree in certain things of how we. You know, I mean, I can look back and say, you know, sometimes I was, sometimes I wasn't there. I've asked, you know, for my forgiveness from my children.
Mm-hmm.
Just forgive me, but know where my heart was.
Right.
And they do.
Right.
You know, spend time with their families, build their families, build a strong family economic base. Everything this we sacrificed enough to build a foundation, but now we have to be. They need to make it a little bit more
Build on top
to
of that.
build on top of that and make it productive. Make it productive.
Okay. So our last two questions. Do you have any goals, dreams, vision, etc., that you haven't yet accomplished that you'd like to accomplish?
I'm still gonna write my book.
Okay.
I'm, I'm more true to myself. Um, I appreciate that this experience was my spiritual foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is different, but this laid the foundation for me to see to be of a more spiritual person. And, uh, what I mean by that is that many of the concepts that were introduced now I'm hearing now
Right.
on the, you know, yeah, everlasting life can exist. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have to do some things. But at least I know because I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
I know that people can come together from different walks of life. And
Absolutely.
I didn't know anything about it. It was just me and my parents and my brother and I.
And that was it.
And that was it. You know, I see that no matter what, even sometimes that we feel that we might be angry at one another, we love each other and we're going to be there for one another. And when I interact or exchange anything with my brothers and my sisters, I feel that love.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel that from me.
Right.
Because I, you know, somewhat of a fearful person growing up. And also thinking that I could not be in a situation like my mother said. I didn't think that that kind of bond existed
Right.
beyond a family.
He's not be your biological
My
family.
biological family.
Mm-hmm.
But I've come with brothers and sisters that I know
Right.
love me and they know I love them.
Right. Right. There's a family bond with this whole experience
Yeah.
that I mean, it's not biological, but there are people that we've spent 20, 30 years with, that you've lived with, that you've worked with, interacted with, that they might as well be biological.
Like the young son and that he didn't know me.
Right.
He saw Doda. Wherever you
Right.
are, I don't know what your
Right.
Doda, you need something.
Right.
Oh,
It goes beyond biology,
it goes.
you
And
know.
that can exist.
And yeah, and it's beautiful. Last question, anything you'd like to say that hasn't been covered?
Well, this experience has introduced us to it has great tools for us to become whole people. But now we need to move it up another level.
Okay.
Really, really seek that wholeness that I know that was the foundation. But now we've got to take it somewhere else.
Take it up a notch.
We have to take it up a notch. We really got to do whatever's necessary just to be whole. If wherever you are, if you are where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you want to be, then that's where you'll function better.
Give me an idea of one or two things, something in your mind that might take it up a notch.
I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna go back again. Therapy did a lot for me.
Okay.
Therapy did a lot for me. But also there were certain tools, like I say, within the community that helped.
That you were able to
That
take advantage
I was
of
able to
and
take advantage.
access.
and we need to utilize those tools. We have to acknowledge that in all that we have done on this journey, there was a lot of pain, and we have to acknowledge that pain. Now, we don't need to get stuck there,
Right.
but we need to do whatever it is that we need to do to get unstuck,
And to go to the next.
to go to the level, because that was one of the questions that when I was always trying to figure out where do I fit in, what do I want to do. And when I look at a quilt, I see all the patches, but then I see what sews it together.
Right.
What's the thing? That was
That
what
common thread.
What's the common thread? That was the thing that when I would read the Abba's books, I saw that he was giving us tools, but the words from the book to the
Actual physical manifestation and
physical.
living of those things.
I mean, we've done that to a degree, but
To a
now
degree.
we have to eliminate. We must eliminate those elements that are no longer conducive to us, that will prevent us from being productive. We have a role to play in this in this this structure that will bring about peace upon earth. But we have to really, really get it together now. We have to do it now because too much is happening.
Wow.
It was good for me when I came along the structure, but now for someone else, whatever we can do to make it better for these times.
For these times.
For these times.
Well, Toda Rabah, Acote Ahmahneet.
Thank you. Yehoshua, Yosef, Heli, Yehonathan, Yehoshaphat, my 5 precious blessings that help that created you with your Abba. This was for you all. And my people. Love you.
Hallelujah. So, as we conclude another episode of Living Chronicles, I hope you all enjoy this episode. And until next time, peace, blessings, and prosperity to you all.
Thank you.